Coming up on Network Africa, at least 10 people killed in Somalia suicide bomb attack. The United Nations call for free and fair elections in Mali. Plus, diamond rush in South Africa village as people flock to dig up unidentified stones. Thank you for joining us at this time. Welcome to the program. I'm Layo Adegoke. At least 10 army recruits have been killed in a suicide bomb attack at a military training camp in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. Army officer Mohammed Adan said the bomber behind Tuesday's attack was disguised among recruits queuing up outside the general military camp. The detonated explosives were strapped to his waist during morning training when the explosion occurred. Officer Adan also adds the death toll could be higher and the injured people have been taken to Mogadishu's Medina hospital. Mohamed Kahiye, VOA's journalist in Mogadishu, joins us now for more on this story. Thank you so much for speaking to us. What more can you tell us about today's bomb attack?
Well, thank you for having me again. As you said, the Somali military chief has confirmed that 10 recruits were killed and more than 20 others were wounded when a suicide bomber, who disguised himself as a recruit, detonated his explosives at outside a military training school in south of the capital. In the various hospitals here in the capital, Mogadishu. And this attack comes just some days after the Somali army offensive against the armed group Al-Shabaab has led to death of 50 fighters, and the operation took place in Hiran and the Shabelle, Middle Shabelle region, which is south of the country. So the offensive is linked to the losses on the ground by the militants who continue fleeing from the military.
Well, you've just mentioned, the army offensive to Al-Shabaab, and we know this militant group frequently carries out similar attacks in Somalia. But has there been any claim of responsibility for this particular attack today?
Well, yes, Al-Shabaab, through its online media, has confirmed that one of its fighters was responsible for this attack today. And it said that the attack, contrary to what the Somali military officials are saying, took place inside the Turkish Belt military base, and they put the casualties at 40 dead and 50 wounded. But these claims cannot be independently verified. But as the army says that 10 were killed and the 20 were wounded, and this attack happened outside the military base.
Yeah, and it's quite unfortunate. The victims were, recruits waiting to join the army. Is that correct?
Yes, these recruits were lining up and they were on a security screening during the time of the attack. And the attacker was disguised himself as one of the possible people who wanted to join the army, and he joined the line, and that's when he detonated his explosives, and that's when the attack happened. And according to the military, Somali military officials, especially the military chief, General Odowa Rago, who told the state media that 10 were killed and 20 were wounded.
All right, then. Thank you so much. Mohamed Kahiye there from Mogadishu. Thank you. Senegalese President Macky Sall has called for urgent action after at least 8 people died off the beaches of the capital, Dakar. 7 bodies were recovered on the beach on Sunday and 1 was washed up on shore on Monday. All victims are said to have been in their 20s. On Monday, the president offered his condolences to the grieving families of the deceased and those who were still missing, saying the death of young people by drowning on the beaches of Malika is intolerable. He called for urgent measures to be taken by the authorities to provide better security and for parents to be more vigilant on the beaches. The latest number of deaths are a rare spike in Senegal. However, they are not uncommon even during the hot season in the capital when residents seek to cool off in the Atlantic Ocean. The UN Security Council has called for free and fair elections in Mali in the wake of a military takeover of the government. The majority of the 15-member council said that the military leaders should not participate in the elections scheduled for February next year, while underscoring the need to ensure they were free and credible. French ambassador to the UN, Nicolas de Riviere, said at the forum that the absolute priority must be the organization of the presidential election in February. The UN Special Envoy for Mali, El Gassim Wane, also called for strong international support amid a deteriorating security and humanitarian situation in the country.
The time has come for Malian leaders to rise above partisan politics and other interests and work together in earnest to address the crisis in the interest of their country and its future. MINUSMA's support will remain critical in this regard. This is all the more necessary as the security situation in the northern and central part of the country remains of utmost concern. Mali is at a critical juncture, and we cannot allow it to slide into further instability with far-reaching consequences for the sub-region and beyond. This would be failing the Malian people who deserve better. As challenging, desperate, and frustrating the situation in Mali is, I was encouraged by the resolve of the Malian women, men, and youth that I met during my visits to the regions. They genuinely care about their country. They are proud of their cultural heritage and rich history, and they are determined to forge a better future for themselves and their children.
France has strongly condemned the second coup in 9 months. We have taken note of Mali's suspension from ECOWAS and the African Union. The absolute priority must be the organization of the presidential election in February 2022. The Malian political class must now show responsibility as the situation in the country deteriorates, threatening the entire sub-region. It is because this context is fragile that MINUSMA remain an essential tool and its mandate should be preserved.
Over 1,000 people have flocked to the village of Kwalati in South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal province in search of what they believe to be diamonds following the discovery of unidentified stones in the area. The crowd traveled from across South Africa to join villagers who have been digging since Saturday after a herdman who dug up the first stone on an open field, which some believe to be quartz crystals, put out the word. Pictures and videos are shared on social media of people celebrating their findings. Local authorities have requested that people leave the site, citing coronavirus concerns, even as a team of geological and mining experts are visiting the site to collect samples and conduct an analysis. Our South Africa Bureau Chief Betty Dibia joins us now for more on this. Hello, Betty. These fortune seekers are not listening to the government, are they? I mean, is it even confirmed if these are diamonds?
It hasn't been confirmed. We expect the experts going from the Department of Minerals and Energy. We don't know when they're going to get there. And then we don't know if indeed we have diamond there. But this has happened before, 2018, same KwaZulu-Natal, but instead of Kwatlati, in this case it was a place called Hardin, Mati, where gold flakes supposedly was found, and you had thousands of people buying and selling, digging, and now here you already have clashes, but we're waiting to see, we're seeing police presence. Whether that will deter people, I doubt. You know, that's another thing entirely. But they're digging and now threatening, up to a point, the integrity of the ground they're standing on, because you may have a landfall somewhere like you had in Hardin in 2018, where a stone fell and I think a child was killed, or one of those people digging. So that's where we are. Till the team gets there, they're trying to secure the area, but people are not deterred. We understand people are coming as far as from Pretoria to KwaZulu-Natal, which is about 5 hours apart, and everyone is digging and buying and selling, and there are clashes we hear as well.
Well, has there been any word from, the team of geological and mining experts that are visiting the sites to collect the samples? How soon can these people know if they have something so valuable?
We don't know yet. They haven't done the sampling yet. We just heard from the provincial government, which is quite worried about the situation in the area, saying that they will be working with the Department of Minerals and Energy to send the team, geological team, yes, to get samples and find out. In the case of Hardin, the 2018 case I mentioned, it turned out not to be gold, but you still had the same picture, playing out. So until that is done, we don't have timelines yet. We don't know when they're going to do this, but I'm sure it will be as soon as possible. But meanwhile, illegal digging is going on, and it's becoming wider and wider, and the police is standing around looking because they can't do so much.
All right, just finally, if this indeed turns out to be what, the people are looking for after the investigation is done and all, what does this mean for, that village and even for South Africa as a country?
Well, South Africa is a huge mining country. You have diamond in the country, you have gold, you have all that. Also, there are different places. Remember Kimberley in the Northern Cape, where you had diamond at the time. But the government hopefully won't go the way of many mining communities, where those who produce this, what do you call it, precious stones, I mean, the communities hardly get as much development as they should, because of certain factors from within and outside. So hopefully it won't go that way. But mining is controlled by government in the country, although illegal mining is quite huge, and some people are already protesting. They would want or lobbying for illegal mining business to be recognized, for people to be given licenses. But probably they will have to secure the area and then know what next. But then they will consult the local community as well, traditional leaders in the area. But hopefully they will benefit if indeed it is diamond.
All right, then. Thank you, Betty Dibia, our South Africa Bureau Chief there from Johannesburg.
Thank you very much.
Still to come on the program. A Nigerian musical highlights the issues surrounding gender inequality, amongst others. Please stay with us for more details. Welcome back to the program. The World Health Organization has welcomed the Group of Seven's weekend pledge of 870 million COVID-19 vaccine doses, but says that many more is needed and very quickly. WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus says some 10,000 people are still dying each day from the disease, and critically ill patients in Africa had a higher mortality rate. A senior World Health Organization advisor, Bruce Aliward, also says that Africa will get priority treatment for the G7's pledged 870 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine.
I welcome the support expressed by the G7 for WHO, the ACT Accelerator, and the idea of a treaty on pandemic preparedness and response. And I welcome the announcement that G7 countries will donate 870 million vaccine doses, primarily through COVAX. This is a big help, but we need more, and we need them faster.
We do not at this point have a firm breakdown on how the 870 million doses that will be donated will be divided across areas. Now, that said, the G7 have been extremely clear, and the Americans have been extremely clear that they want to prioritize those areas that are most vulnerable and that where these vaccines will have the greatest impact. And I think, as everyone on this call knows, if you look at the map on the WHO COVID dashboard or any other site, you will see that Africa, one of the most vulnerable, underserved. So the priority would be, Simon, for doses to be going to sub-Saharan Africa and the African continent, pardon me, writ large. So those numbers will get sorted out over the coming weeks, and we'll have more on that.
Sophie Mokena from
Mozambique's health ministry is on high alert as COVID-19 cases in the country increase. Cases had gone down from March till May, but in the last 14 days, the country has recorded 773 new cases against 442 cases in the same period last month. Deputy National Director of Public Health, Beninia Masine, said the increase was of great concern as it could destroy all the effort made so far. She urges people to remain firm in complying with general measures to prevent and combat the virus. Tighter restrictions were imposed earlier this year after a second coronavirus wave followed the Christmas break. A close aide to Kenneth Kaunda, Zambia's founding president, says the 97-year-old is being treated in hospital for pneumonia. The former president's assistant, Roderick Ngol, was addressing rumors that Mr. Kaunda had coronavirus. He is said to be improving from pneumonia, which comes up regularly. In a statement on Monday, the 97-year-old had asked people to pray for him in hospital, but at that point, there were no details of his condition. There has been growing concern about his health, especially as Zambian President Edgar Lungu, along with South Africa's leader Cyril Ramaphosa, had asked people to pray for Mr. Kaunda. Well, various gender issues including rape, harmful traditional practices, emotional and psychological violence, and female gender mutilation are highlighted in the new musical Flower here in Nigeria. All Nigerian theatre queens, Elvina Ibru, Waje, Ufoma McDermott, and others present an explicit narrative around sensitive gender-based issues that are usually discussed in hushed tones. Details in this next report.
At first glance, this might come across as just another feel-good musical strictly for amusement and entertainment. However, beyond this enchanting lighting, sonorous singing, and deft acting is a strong message on gender-based violence and equality.
Something might change tonight.
It's a story of 6 women from different walks of life and how at the end of the day their individual gender-based issues raised by the society connect them together.
I will not adopt. I refuse to adopt. My reverend says, to adopt is to disbelieve. And I believe, Lord. I believe.
One is a woman pushed into religious fanaticism because of the pressure from lack of childbirth, a woman whose marriage has turned miserable from genital mutilation, and another, a queen of the night, who is suffering from trauma from incest rape.
They're heavy topics, but it's surrounded by music and dance. So you don't feel like, this is too heavy for me. There's also a very strong message and the message of hope at the end of the day.
The others include a woman in uniform incarcerated for a crime of passion, a successful professional who can't enjoy her success because she mustn't appear competitive with men, and the trophy wife, who gets the attention of all but the single person that matters.
I have all I do not want, and the only thing I want is become a mirage.
I hope that by the play we'll be able to educate men and even women out there to understand that there's a whole lot more to a woman. You know, there's a lot, because some people are even in this situation and they're okay with it. I mean, that's the life that they met and they're living it.
While this production shows how the society in general is by default an enabler of some of these issues, constant sensitization and awareness is believed to have been yielding results, a reason why the messaging cannot be stopped.
There are changes. You can't compare the way it was years back. Before, people don't even come out to talk about rape. People don't talk about them being raped. They rather keep quiet. But now there's a consciousness with the female gender, and then there's consciousness of knowing that you are not alone.
Flower the Musical is written and directed by Benga Yusuf.
Scores of small and medium-sized businesses in Nigeria beginning to reel from the suspension of Twitter in the country. NOI polls estimate that 39.6 million Nigerians use Twitter, 20% of them for business advertisement and 18% to look for employment opportunities.
Lagos-based entrepreneur Gechi Egemonu was selling more than 500,000 worth of watches, shoes and handbags on Twitter per week. Now, with the site suspended by the Nigerian government, Egemonu does not know how she will cope.
I feel very, very distraught. Like, I feel really disorganized. I don't know how to put myself back together because I've been trying to build this. I've been trying to build this platform. I've been trying to put my best, be consistent. They said, do this, post more, talk to more people. I've done everything I needed to do, but then I was able to do that because I had the platform. But right now, I don't have that platform anymore.
Scores of small and medium-sized businesses across Africa's most populous nation and largest economy are reeling from the indefinite suspension of the social media site.
I know for sure it's been very damaging because a lot of firms run on ad campaigns. A lot of business opportunity has been created just by the whole influencer thing on Twitter. People make money, people spend money. It's kind of like a mini ecosystem on its own, and then just snatching that away from Nigerians is kind of
Nigeria announced the move on the 4th of June, 2 days after the platform removed a post from President Muhammadu Buhari threatening to punish regional separatists. Most telecommunication sites have blocked access.
We're looking at the potential loss in their revenue, looking at potential loss, and then the ripple effect would be on output growth, because if manufacturing sector is affected, if businesses are affected, if trade sector is affected, we're looking at potential, decline in economic growth and then economic development. Why? Because the standard of living will be a lot worse compared to the cost of living.
If it gets to a stage whereby there is no social media, I would really pick up my CV and start looking for job opportunities and how to fix myself into the society and how to earn a livelihood, because social media is where I eat.
With 1 in 3 Nigerians unemployed, youths restless, rampant insecurity grinding economic activity to a halt, many economic watchers say this may be Africa's biggest threat.
And that's it on the program for today. Thank you for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke.